Hey guys, welcome to another Q&A session. So basically, people ask questions and I provide answers. A few days ago, I had a subscriber named Hayden Bursting Eagles Baster, and he basically said this. He was like, "Hey man, I like your video. Can you do a training video for people that want to lose fat and build muscle?" He also said, "Could you do one on abs? I'm having a hard time getting them ripped and maintaining them. Could you do one also on muscle tone? When I go to gym, I see guys who do less weight than me, but have more defined muscles. A lot of training videos don't talk about that. Thanks for messaging me back." Okay, so to answer your first question here, I don't know. I mean, I can't just tell you one sentence that's going to make you ripped. You know what I mean? That's just not how it works. Can you also do one on muscle tone? When I go to the gym, I see guys that do less weight than me but have more defined muscles. Now this is a question I can actually answer. There's a reason why they're doing less weight than you. If you focus less, for some people, they just can't do as much weight. That right there is just how it is. You know, you've seen a guy, some guys might be tall, some guys might be short. The shorter guy might not be as strong, or he might be better with squatting. People have their strengths and weaknesses. Not everybody's going to be the same strength. So having said that, genetics plays a pretty big role. Like me, for instance, a lot of people complain and bitch and tell me that I'm like too small and too big. And, I exercise 4 to 5 times a week. Like, I was exercising today and some guy came in and he's like, with all the stuff you know about fitness and exercise, why are you not bigger? Well, the thing is, we can't all look the same and we can't all be the same strength. Some people are going to exercise less than you. They're going to have a shittier diet and they're still going to look better than you. And that right there is that's it. That's genetics. Some people are going to be better, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, what you can do is you can continue to better yourself, because if you're always going to be looking at other people, I mean, you're going to feel like shit, because there's probably going to be a lot of people who are going to be more advanced than you, some people who've been exercising more, and like you said, some people who use less weight but still look more toned. Now, there's probably a pretty good reason why they look more toned, more ripped, and probably do less weight. And that might just be because their body fat is lower. So what is your body fat at? I mean, are you at 15%? Are you at 18%? Are you obese? I don't really know your stats here. I mean, if you could tell me what you're at, and I could probably, provide some kind of solution to that. But I need to know your stats. How tall are you? How often do you eat? What do you eat? How often do you exercise? A lot of people actually tend to look at me at the gym and they're wondering why I do a lot of pussy weight. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh, this guy's only curling 35, 40 pounds. I mean, he's a pussy," stupid stuff like that. But, well, the thing is, I can't really curl that much more. I've been progressing. I started with 5 pounds. I moved to 10, then 15, 20, 25, 35, 40, whatever. But I look better than almost all the guys in the gym. And that's just because my muscles look more defined. It's because I brought my body fat down. So what you probably need to focus on is bringing your body fat down. And to do that, you're just going to need to do cardio. And so focus on cardio. If you're going to ask me, well, what's cardio? Like, what is that? I mean, well, cardio is going to be anything that's going to get your heart rate up 130 beats per minute or more. And you can test that by checking your pulse or using a heart rate monitor on your watch or wrist or whatever. You want to stay at 130 beats or more per minute, and you want to do it for a continuous amount of time. Because if you stop at any point in time, you get out of the system and you don't continue to burn fat, at least for another 3 minutes. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're first starting cardio, there's like a 3-minute initiation period where your body's changing systems, and it changes into a system where it can burn more fat, because then it realizes it needs more energy, so it uses the fat as an energy source. So make sure you're on the treadmill or jogging outside or whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing. There's lots of things you can do for cardio, like swimming, for instance. Make sure you don't stop, because it's all about being continuous and not stopping. If you have to stop, you can slow down a little, keep that heart beating, because that's the most important thing. So let's see here. So having a hard time getting over. So if you're having a hard time maintaining them, that's just work that you need to put in. I mean, there's no secrets to it. I mean, unless you were going to take drugs, but maintaining them is all about consistency. If you have a hard time maintaining them, you're lacking some kind of consistency in your exercise routine. Basically, just tell me everything you're doing in your exercises, and I'm going to tell you if there's anything else you might be able to incorporate. But, I've been a big proponent of this. Lose a little bit of fat, and you're going to look so much bigger. Your muscles start to pop more. Because when you decrease the fat, the muscles are popping out more. You can see the striations. You can see the individual muscle fibers, and that's what's going to give you that hard, ripped, shredded look. But yeah, as for people doing less weight, well, weight is not necessarily what's going to get you looking ripped and shredded. What's going to get you ripped is going to it's all about bringing the body fat down. And the other subscriber I had, John Halls, he said, let's see, I have a few questions. How about carb? How much carbs should one get? And how much calorie surplus should I eat for maximum growth and minimum fat gain? Example, I eat 2,900 calories. How much percent? Okay, so it's really going to depend on your stats. And I see here that you've posted your stats, which is great. Thanks. So you're 16. You're probably 17 now because I'm responding to this and it's been a while. You weigh, let's see, 178, or no, you're 170 pounds. You're 5'10". Okay, so you're relatively decent height. You work out about 4 times a week, upper lower split. That's actually really good. The upper lower split works really well. I'm a beginner. Thanks for the fast response. I subbed. Also, I have this question. Is it possible to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time? All right. To answer that question, yes, you can lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, because losing fat and gaining muscle are completely different things. They're not really together at all. They're not really related, unless you're thinking about the overarching calorie scheme of things. So there's 2 ways you can lose muscle. If you're thinking about doing a calorie deficit, that's basically where you lower your calories, and because you've lowered your calories, your body's forced more to rely on its fat stores, so it burns the fat slowly. But if your body's doing that, you're also losing a little bit of your muscle mass. You're not really losing your muscle, but your muscle begins to deflate because the carbohydrates are stored inside the muscle. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. So you're asking about the calorie surplus. And realistically, how many calories you should be getting, that's a really specific thing. And that really, I wish I had the answer, but that really is going to depend on how much you eat and how much you exercise. I mean, even if you tell me you exercise 4 times a week, I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean? I can't necessarily extrapolate how many calories you're burning by exercising 4 times a week. If you're exercising 4 times a week, are you exercising for an hour? Are you exercising for 2 hours? Did you do any cardio within that? I can't really predict, and I can't really tell you. But what I can tell you is, if you focus on eating whenever you're hungry, you will be just fine. Most of the time, that's going to get you enough calories. You may or may not be in a calorie surplus, but you don't necessarily need to be in a calorie surplus to build muscle. If you're a beginner, you're going to have a year or 2 of just pure noob gains. You're going to have a shit diet. You can have a shit exercise. Your body's just going to adapt. If you put your body through something, it's going to start changing and it's going to adapt. And that's it. If you give it a calorie surplus, it's going to increase the likelihood that it's going to take some extra calories. It's going to store more carbs in the muscle. So your muscles will look a little bit bigger. You'll have more energy. You'll be able to work out better, perform better. And that, in the long term, is definitely going to make you bigger. So there's a lot of calorie calculators online. And I have one in one of my videos, which I'll probably link you sometime. But take a look at one of my videos. They talk about how many calories you should be getting. It's the fats, the macro ratios video for fats, carbs, and proteins. We talk about that there. But take a look at a calorie calculator, because that's going to allow you to input everything you do, how much you eat, your genetics, your height, blah, 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 and it's going to spit out a number. And that's generally where you're going to want to be at. Seeing here that you're eating 2,900 calories, that sounds pretty good for somebody of your stats of 170 and 5'10". So I think you're pretty okay. You probably don't need to eat that much more. If you don't want to do a calorie calculator, just eat a little bit more, and then for the next 3 weeks, start checking to see if you're gaining any fat or not, because that's what's going to tell you. You know, do I need to decrease it? Do I need to increase it? Here's what I can tell you. Generally, your muscles, the more muscle you have, the more carbohydrates you're going to store in that muscle. So just eat a little bit less fat, eat a little bit more carbs, and get maybe a little bit more protein, maybe a little bit less. People tend to overeat on the protein. It's most of the things that's going to give you the energy in the gym is the carbs, and those carbs are also going to give you the size, it's going to inflate your muscle. Okay. So, some say if you eat at maintenance, you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. That's true, because my metabolism is not very high as an endomorph. To get a pic of what I am, my problem is that my body fat is pretty high, 18%. When I use the skin fold calipers and I don't know what to do, if I cut, I have no muscle to cut down to. But if I bulk, I become fatter than I am. Already, I have a double chin. What should I do? Okay. If you're an endomorph, oh my God, I wish I was an endomorph, okay? Because right then and there, you will actually have more muscle than anybody in the gym. You have the greatest potential to build more muscle, and that's just because you just have more. You have bigger bones, which means you're going to have more muscle resting on top of the bones. Your genetics are great. Don't necessarily worry too much about them. But what it does mean is you can change your training style. So, essentially as an endomorph, that means you really don't need to eat as much. Focus on doing a little bit of cardio to just burn the fat. Like, people just don't get it. Like, if you're fat, you're going to need to burn the fat. The fat's not going to magically go away. You need to be in a state that allows the fat to leave the body. When you do cardio, you're essentially breathing your fat right out. You breathe out CO2. So, and you're also taking the fat and you're breaking it down and you're getting that carbohydrates as energy. So, because you have a lot of fat, you actually you can work out longer, and you're going to be stronger. But the thing that endomorphs suffer from the most is lack of definition. And again, it's because they have too much fat. So focus on eating almost no fat or very little fat, and focus on cardio every day. Look, man, if you just do cardio every day for 3 months, I guarantee you're going to see killer results. My recommendation is this. Find a way to do cardio every day. Like, if you're going to wake up, just do it. Just do it then and there. Don't let anything get in the way. Wake up and have it be probably one of the first things you do. Maybe drink a little bit of water, take a piss, brush your teeth or whatever, and go and do it. Because if you can't get in the habit of doing the cardio you need, you're not going to get the body that you want. And that's as simple as that. So focus on that. Also, John Halls, about the bulking and cutting mentality. You don't necessarily need to follow that mentality at all. Look, man, every time I've bulked, it's been nothing but a fucking disaster. And that's because ectomorphs, when we bulk, like, I mean, we have a huge surge of energy, but we just get fat. We can't utilize it. Mesomorphs, on the other hand, their muscles are big and they could store a lot in that bulk. But mesomorphs' muscles look good already, so they don't necessarily need to work out that much. I would say, you know what, dude? Just try to eat clean. Try to make it into the gym 4 to 5, even 6 days a week. Hell, motherfucker, if you come in every day, if you do cardio every day, you're going to get your body. And you're going to look better than anybody in the gym. In fact, you could probably lift weights for 3 times a week, and then the rest of the days, just do cardio, and you're going to look great. You just have more muscle. You have better muscles. They're going to look better. You have stronger joints. So that's going to mean you're going to do heavier weights too. So keep that in mind. All right, that's the video. Thanks for watching.